Alright, all you insomniatic TV channel surfers out there tonight, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And apparently, according to the Maestro, that has to be a new record of the amount of tiger knees we mentioned during an episode of Monday Night Raw, which I would have to agree. And speaking of tigers, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for us to go into another classic edition of As Seen on TV. And by classic, we mean extreme, because the show we have up on the plate for this week is none other than the show known as Transformers Beast Wars. Or was it Beast Wars Transformers? I keep getting the order wrong, but either way, this show takes place after the events that happened after the Transformers series, the 3D version of it that was created by the group who brought you such great cartoons as Reboot, actually would see the Beast waking up on this foreign planet only to get in a fight over the Allspark once again, or the Energon Cubes, for them to lead into the Beast Wars that you would see for this said show. And that's the best meat and potatoes that my 9-year-old self could remember about this cartoon, which was crazier than all hell that I saw as a kid. And that was probably one of the things that I loved the most about this show, because this show featured, instead of the Autobots and the Decepticons, would feature none other than the Predacons and, of course, the Maximals, who were the Autobots. And the best part about this show is the characters of the show, and thank you, Maestro, for pulling it up, because not only Optimus Prime would be a giant oversized silverback gorilla, but you would have the second in command, whose name was Rhinox, who was a rhinoceros, Rat Trap, who was, well, a rat, Cheetor, who was a cheetah, Dinobot, who was a former Predacon, who was a velociraptor, Tigatron, Erazior, Tigerhawk, who I think was one of my favorite ones besides Silverbolt, who was the Grey Wolf and technical Golden Eagle hybrid. But one of my least favorite ones, and I can say the same for the Predacon side, is the fact that they had not only a Black Widow spider, but also another creature there called Tyrannotulus, who was a tarantula, besides the Black Arachna character, who was a Black Widow spider. Ugh. Used to give me the creeps seeing a spider that big on TV fighting a rat. And another thing that I loved about this show was the fact that it was different. I mean, granted, we've said throughout this entire As Seen on TV that this show was absolutely outrageous, with the fact that you have giant gorillas, bees, wolves, and everything else duking it out over energy on a foreign planet. But the fact that they were able to pull this off with the way that this show looked back in the day, not bad. Not bad at all. And another thing that I loved about this show, besides the music that was featured during it, is the voice actors that was featured during this as well, including a couple of mainstays that was featured during such great shows as Dragon Ball Z, and featured in some Dragon Ball Z movies, including Don Brown, and even had David Cale, who played the voice of Professor X during the said show of X-Men Evolution. And yeah, the fact that another one of these voice actors that was featured during this show was not only featured during the show of RoboCop Alpha Commando, and that was David Sobolov, or Sobolov, but you also had, and sorry I butchered his name, Maestro, but you also had him featured in another show known as Mummies Alive, Teen Titans, Spider-Man Unlimited, and even featured during Sabrina the Animated Series of the list of shows that he was involved with. So yeah, he's involved with a lot of shows that we're going to mention in the near future, so remember that name of David Sobolov. And we got it right on the second try. And one of my favorite episodes of this show, besides the episode, when they finally were able to find the energon they were looking for, had to have been when Black Arachna finally decided to leave the Predacons and make her way on over to the Maximals to help out not only Silverwolf, but also help out a couple of other characters during that said episode. And apparently, according to the Maestro, Silverwolf was not the name of the guy, but that's what I kept calling him over and over again because he looked like a silver wolf, not Silver Bolt. But besides my back and forth arguing with the Maestro, folks, this show would debut on TV on September 16th of 1996 and go all the way until March 7th of 1999, eventually leading into the next part of this said series known as the Machine Wars that we will review hopefully in the near future. Yeah, because I do believe that's the one day where they had that whole Ninja Turtles, Cyberpunk Underground in a city version of the Beast Wars that would really start to pick up. And seeing the fact that we don't know how to review TV shows along the lines of TV Guide or any of those other TV reviewers you know of out there, we say this. If you guys want to go ahead and watch a show that features a whole series of onomatopoeias duking it out on a planet far, far away from here in a war that was started by their ancestors only to be continued by these animals that can double over as a futuristic hyper episode of National Geographic, then I recommend you go out there, pick up your TV channel remotes, and watch that show. And I got a feeling by the end of the first episode, you may find your favorite animal character that you could find in your local Toys R Us, if they're still open, to actually represent them properly. Yeah, and no, Maestro, this is not an advertisement for Toys R Us. And with that said, folks, we might as well head back to the music, and when we return, we'll be back with more of the Tuesday Night Special right after this. So don't go watching infomercials just yet, folks, and stay tuned.